surprised anybody, did it? I mean, if you look at their team, they have 3 high major talents that all came from the high major. Buchanan, Maximus Edwards, and Bishop. So they got 3 high-level, 3-level guys, and then the 4th one is the big kid who didn't play much, but also came from the high major. So they've had some issues with playing hard every night, but I knew we were going to have our hands full because of what happened the last game against St. Bonaventure. They decided they were going to guard, and they made shots, and all of a sudden now they got some intravenous fed into their system, and so we had a battle on our hands.
This is the 3rd game in a row where you guys took on a team that was missing a guy averaging at least 12.5 points per game. You guys obviously had your own injury issues with Day Grant, but do you feel like in the last 3 games that you guys were the better team no matter what, or was there a little bit of luck that played into going up against these teams shorthanded?
Well, one guy hadn't played in 7 games, right? So with Grant Johnson, is that his last name? So he hasn't really played in 7 games. So I mean, I think teams can survive it in the short term, but it hurts them in the long term. So is it luck? Yeah, like it helps. It helps, but I still think, like VCU, for instance, they still played a good game against us. It just meant that some of their other guys played a little bit more. Clearly, Shulga is one of their best players, but he wasn't great last night. So I just think short term, anything can happen regardless against a good team. I know the other night Cleveland State beat Youngstown State, for instance, and Anorama didn't play in the conference tournament, which you would think they'd have no chance, but they won. So I think to your question, is it helpful? I think long term, yes, and even short term, because they have to make some adjustments, but it's hard to say. It's guys step up. Even when we didn't have Day, we were still a tough out. So it just gives other people an opportunity to play.
Coach, do you think that it was better for you guys to go through this today like this, or waltz your way through a win?
It was better for them, but it wasn't better for me. Like, I really don't want to put myself through that misery every single second of every single game. But I mean, everything hard is good for you. Anything easy usually isn't good for you. And that goes all the way into life, basketball. Anything you have to work for that you earn is always good for you.
Coach, ball goes out of bounds with 11 seconds to go. They're doing the replay. You guys get the ball, but is that the play you drew up? You wanted Jimmy to drive and maybe score rather than get fouled, but is that what you wanted to happen?
Yeah, we spread out. We figured that was our best opportunity with no ball screens, so that nobody could be around them. It gave them space. I mean, we were fortunate. We hustled after it, and the ball was our ball, which helped us, or we could have been on the other end of it. And then he made a good drive and got contact. So. And then he made his free throws, which with Jimmy sometimes is an adventure. So, but he made some big plays. He had 4 steals. The Pittsburgh Steelers had 4 steals today.
And then can you just speak to his performance today? 22 points, reaching 1,000 career points. Big game for his last one on the home court.
Did he hit 1,000 today?
He did. Yeah, the first free throw at the end there.
So I didn't think he was very good early. I thought he was a little bit. I don't know. The senior day games are rough. From my experience, it's hard to control your emotions. All their families there. People lose a lot of senior day games, and I thought he was a little disjointed early, especially defensively. He left he left Bishop for the 1-3 ball. I know jumps out at me, but I thought he settled in pretty good. We took him out early just to try to get his feet back on the ground. But Jimmy's a competitor, man. he's been through a lot too, you know, he's had to battle to get to this point, and he's a good person, a good player, so I was happy for him.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
Early in the year, you were talking a little bit about 20 wins and the power that could have and the value you put on it relative to building a program. And then you had a non-conference schedule that was really tough, and that seemed to run a little counter to that. Now that you've gotten on the other side of it and got the 20 wins, talk a little bit about how that has gotten you to this point in terms of resilience and where that places you going forward in the tournament.
Well, first off, every game is a mutually exclusive event. So, you know, what you've done in the past certainly helps you prepare for what you do in the future, but every game's different, and every team plays different, you know, when you get to the tournament. So, you know, I happen to read a lot of things, and I read Tristan's little statement about the schedule. You know, we played, 7 out of the top 9 teams in the league on the road. So clearly we're a good team, but we're also capable of losing to anyone, because that's what this league is. It's a tough league. It's, you know, you have to battle every single night regardless of what place the teams are in. But when you play 7 out of the top 9 teams, and if you analyze our start, for instance, everybody thought we were no good, right? But we started with UMass, who got the double bye. We started with Loyola, who got the double bye. And then we were fortunate enough to play Dayton at home, who got the double bye, and then we were fortunate enough to play Richmond at home, who got the double bye. So we certainly didn't have a cakewalk to open the season, and we showed we were fairly competitive in most of those games. And then we had to go to St. Joe's on the road. So, I mean, we've earned everything that we've gotten. Quite frankly, like we came from, you know, down and out to get to 10-8, which may not seem like a big accomplishment, but when you're 0-5, 10-8 is pretty good. And people will say, well, you shouldn't have been 0-5, but maybe we should have. You know, maybe we weren't quite ready to win those games yet, but we certainly were good enough to win the last 3 games, you know, 2 on the road and here, you know, when we were tested when it mattered. And sometimes you have to lose to win. And so I'm not going to apologize for winning games like this, because they're tough games. And I'm certainly not going to diminish a 20-win season, because people think it's easy to get 20 wins, but it isn't. It's hard to get 20 wins, and we played a difficult schedule, like you said. But I'm proud of our guys' resiliency and their toughness, and and that goes from 1 to 16, or how many guys we have, because like Andrei Savrasov was an example today. He helped us, right? And he's had a rough time of it. You know, it's hard on him emotionally. And you know, don't ask me why, you know, I play whoever I play, because sometimes I'm just going off a field. And I felt like he could guard the ball, and that's why I played him. And he was ready to play. And most of our guys have been that way throughout the year.
Speaking of toughness and effort in a tight game like this, Day Grant had that diving effort after that ball. Talk about that play, and then how to carry that over going into the tournament.
Well, I think that's the one thing about Day that people don't realize. Like, he has really expanded, you know, what kind of player he is. He's become a good defensive player. And he works really hard at it on a daily basis. And he's got a good motor, and he's got a good toughness to him. And I think the biggest thing he's done a really good job of is not letting his offense affect his defense, which he's had to grow into that. He's done an unbelievable job of that. And I give him a lot of credit, because it's hard to change, you know, and he's been built at the offensive end. That's what good offensive players, that's how they think, you know, but he's become a good all-around player.
Coach, your 7 seniors today, they combined for 37 seasons of college basketball at almost 15 different schools.
I guess that's the state of college basketball right now, right?
Yeah, what can you just say about that class and for as brief as their time was here and how important it was to honor them with the ceremony before the game.
So it's kind of strange, you know, because is it senior night or is it 1 year night? You know, like, I think you wrote an article on that, right? It's a great point, like, so you still, when you coach them every day, you still see them a lot, more than your family. So that's what modern basketball is, but they made big contributions to our program, and we were able to turn our program around last year, you know, because of the portal. But we also have some good young guys. Like, I think that we don't want to diminish from that. We have some good young players, which I think you have to have a mix of. But that's what's hard too about predictions, right? Everybody's predicting who's good and who's not good, and you know, that team's, you know, they don't have anything back. They picked us 15th last year, right? And they didn't really know what we had in the portal, right? They picked Richmond down in this year, right? But they didn't know that Jordy King would go crazy for Richmond. So predictions mean nothing anymore, right? It's not like guys that have been there for 4 years where there's no influx of new guys. Everybody's got new guys. So the preseason rankings, they might as well just do away with that crap, because it really doesn't mean anything anymore, right? Because nobody knows. Like, I don't know. And I know more about, recruits than probably most people do, but you don't know how it's going to all fit together and who adapts well to this system or whatever. So that's what makes the job difficult now. And it's hard on the kids as well, you know, because they don't know either how it's going to all work.
Coach, so Trey Clark walks in here last year, reputation for a defender, having scored 130 points in 2 years at VCU. If you told him he would have walked off the court today with 1,000 points in his career and as a potential first-team all-conference guy, you think he would have believed you?
Yeah. He's a confident guy that spends a lot of time at it. And when you watch him at junior college, he improved his skill level. And VCU knew he was going to be good on top of it. Mike Rhodes told me that. They knew he was going to improve offensively. So he was on the verge of starting for them before he got kicked out of school. So look, Jimmy's another guy that has taken advantage of his opportunities and, you know, has put himself in position to be a good pro. At what level yet, I don't know, but I think he'll be in some NBA summer camps, summer league teams. He's capable of being better than he is right now. So he's taking advantage of it. And he's done a good job of, you know, moving over to the point. He's done a good job with that. He certainly isn't perfect. He drives me bananas sometimes, but he's improved. Anything